You're listening to the Dental Patient Pipeline podcast, the show designed to help dentists like you attract more patients, grow your clinic, and build a thriving practice. Hosted by Mark Vernam, a leading expert in dental marketing, this podcast brings you proven strategies, real-world success stories, and no-fluff insights to turn clicks into booked appointments and prospects into loyal patients. If you're looking to grow your clinic to the next level, you're in the right place. Now, here's your host, Mark Vernam.
Hi, I'm Mark, and welcome to the Dental Patient Pipeline. Today, we're diving into one of the big headaches for clinic owners, getting more leads to turn into actual booked appointments. You know, it's frustrating, right? You get all these inquiries, but somehow they're just not showing up on your calendar. So here's what we're going to focus on in this episode. First, we're going to look at why leads don't convert in the first place. Then we'll walk through some tactics to improve how you follow up with potential patients. And finally, I'll give you practical steps you can use to increase your appointment rates. Sound good? All right, let's get into it. Now, here's the thing about lead conversion. It's something I hear all the time from clients. They come to me and say, "Oh, Mark, we're just getting bad leads." But honestly, that's rarely the case. More often than not, it's that those leads aren't being nurtured properly. And yeah, it's super easy to blame the lead source. But if you don't have a solid process in place, even the best leads can slip through the cracks. One big factor, speed. I've got to tell you, 78% of patients will book with the first clinic that gets back to them. Think about it. When someone's reaching out, they're ready to make a decision, but if they're left hanging, they'll move on to the next clinic. Easy as that. It's like they lose the momentum. And it's not just about being fast. It's about being organized and intentional in how you respond, but we'll get more into that later. And really, conversion is a skill. It's not some magical thing where leads just turn into patients. Clinics that approach it like a skill, developing their systems, fine-tuning their responses, those are the ones that see huge growth. So if you shift your mindset and treat this as something you can learn and improve, you'll set your clinic up for success. All right, let's break this down. So let's talk about the first contact you have with a lead, because honestly, this is make or break. We already touched on how critical speed is, right? Well, here's the deal. You've got to aim for under 5 minutes, and I'm serious about that. Research shows that if you reach out in that window, your chances of converting a lead into a booked appointment can skyrocket. Wait any longer, and you're just making it harder for yourself. Now, the next challenge, you can't overwhelm them right out of the gate. And this is something I see way too often. Clinics will bombard leads with a bunch of questions or too much info all at once. Nobody wants to feel like they're being grilled. Instead, you want to guide the conversation with a few simple, well-thought-out questions that lead them to naturally take that next step, which, of course, is booking the appointment. And here's where tone makes all the difference. Think about it. No one wants to feel like they're being sold to. What works way better is a friendly, consultative approach. So when you're talking to a lead, make it about helping them. It's not, "Here's why you should pick us." It's, "What can we do to help with what you need?" That subtle shift can change the whole vibe of the conversation. But, and this is key, you've got to prepare your team for objections. And I don't just mean handling the basic stuff. You need your front desk or whoever's booking appointments to be trained to deal with those moments where a lead hesitates. Things like, "I need to think about it," or "I'm not sure just yet." Instead of letting the conversation stall, a skilled team member can gently refocus and address those concerns head on. It's all about keeping the momentum going. So first contact, it's all about speed, simplicity, and using the right tone. Now, let's talk about one of the most common hurdles clinics face, price objections. You know, when patients hesitate and say things like, "Oh, that's too expensive," or "I'll need to think about it." It's frustrating, but here's something key to understand. Most of the time, the issue isn't actually the price. It's the value, or rather the value they perceive they're getting. Think about it. Patients aren't just paying for a treatment. They're investing in the results, the confidence, the life-changing benefits your services can offer. So if you ever find yourself stuck in a price conversation, shift the focus. Talk about what they'll gain in the long run, how the treatment helps them look or feel better, how it solves a problem they've been dealing with. Share success stories from other patients, real life examples that resonate. And if pricing is still a stumbling block for some, consider offering financing or flexible payment options. And I don't mean discounting, don't start slashing prices just to get a yes, that's not the way. Instead, position your services as premium, as something worth investing in, because they truly are. Offering a payment plan makes your treatments more accessible without devaluing your expertise. And lastly, if you treat the consultation as a partnership rather than a sales pitch, you'll see a shift in how these conversations go. It's not about convincing people, it's about helping them understand why it's worth it and bridging the gap between their hesitation and their goals. Building trust is like one of the biggest hurdles clinics face before that first appointment happens. I mean, think about it. Patients are often nervous, they've got questions, concerns, maybe even a bit of skepticism. So, how do you bridge that gap by making them comfortable, even before they walk through your door? One simple, effective way: send them educational content. And I'm not talking about overwhelming technical jargon here, just straightforward, helpful stuff. Testimonials from other patients, treatment explanations, even a quick email or SMS with links or videos that showcase what you do. It's not about selling, it's about making them feel, like they're in good hands, like they're dealing with a clinic that knows what it's doing. And here's a big one: before and after photos or case studies, these are powerful. There's something about seeing real results that just resonates, especially for treatments like aesthetics or dental. It's like, hey, look, this could be you. It gives patients confidence and makes things feel achievable, less scary. Now, another tool that doesn't get used enough: pre-appointment virtual consultations. These are perfect for answering those burning questions that might keep a patient from fully committing. It doesn't have to be long or complicated, even a quick 5-minute call or video chat to go over what they can expect. Man, that can go a long way in easing concerns and building trust. And it shows that your clinic cares enough to make that effort up front. Lastly, this one's super important: personalize your communication. I've seen this happen way too often. Clinics send generic messages that honestly could have been sent to anyone. Don't be that clinic. Address the patient by name, reference their specific inquiry or concern, and show that you've paid attention. Even little touches like that can make them feel valued and respected, and that, my friends, is what builds trust. All right, let's get into follow-ups, because following up is where the magic happens when it comes to converting leads into actual bookings. A lot of clinics think, oh, we'll just send one email or make one phone call, and if they don't respond, that's it. But honestly, that's not gonna cut it. You need a structured system in place if you really want to see results. So here's the first step: implement a sequence that keeps you top of mind for your leads. And I like to use the 3, 7, and 14-day rule. Basically, you're reaching out right after the initial inquiry within that 3-day window, then touching base again on day 7, and then once more around day 14. You're sort of creating gentle nudges at just the right times to keep them engaged. Now, this doesn't have to mean you're glued to your phone or computer manually tracking all this. No. There's automation tools that can handle a lot of it for you. Tools that send out reminder texts or emails to patients who, showed interest but didn't book right away. These platforms save you time while making sure nobody falls through the cracks. And here's a tip: urgency works. If you're sending out a follow-up message, don't just say, hey, just checking in, let us know. That's too passive. Instead, try something more action-driven, like, we only have 2 slots left this week. Reserve yours now. You're creating a little FOMO, and that can be just the push someone needs to commit. Another thing, Mix up your methods. Don't rely on just one channel. Send an email, follow up with a text, maybe even make a quick phone call. People respond to different types of communication. So by diversifying, you increase your chances of actually connecting with them. It's about meeting them where they're comfortable. And finally, track and refine your process. This isn't set it and forget it. You've got to evaluate what's working and tweak as you go. Now let's talk about tracking, because if you're not measuring your conversion rate consistently, then honestly, you're flying blind. And when I say tracking, I mean really paying attention to what's working and what's not. A good place to start, look at your lead to booking ratio. It's like the heartbeat of your system. When you keep an eye on this, you can quickly spot where things might be breaking down in your process. Another tool I can't recommend enough: recording and reviewing call interactions. And I know, it might sound like a bit of a hassle, but trust me, when you take the time to listen back to how your team handles those critical conversations, you get all kinds of insights. Are they following the script? Are they engaging in a way that feels authentic? It's those small tweaks that can lead to, really big improvements over time. And here's the thing, don't be afraid to test different follow-up strategies. Try experimenting with your text messages, email templates, call timings. Whatever it is, track which ones drive the highest conversions so you're not just going on a hunch. Like try sending a follow-up text at a different time of day or tweaking the language to feel more personal. You'd be surprised how much these little experiments can actually move the needle. Another element that can be a game changer: celebrating your team's wins. When someone on your staff successfully converts a lead into a booked appointment, acknowledge it. Give them a shout out or even consider setting up a small incentive system, to reward those standout performances. By recognizing and encouraging great work, you not only motivate your team, but you also create a culture of success that, honestly, patients can feel when they interact with you. So here's the deal. Tracking isn't just about numbers. It's about using those insights to refine your approach, improve your team, and make adjustments that set your clinic up for long-term success. Okay, so we've covered a lot today: speed, follow-ups, trust building, handling objections, testing strategies, the whole conversion process, really. And if there's one thing I want you to take away, it's this: lead conversion isn't about luck. It's a skill, and with the right strategies, your clinic can master it. And on that note, that's all for today. Thanks for tuning in to the Dental Patient Pipeline. Go out there, refine your process, and start turning more leads into loyal, paying patients. See you next time.